Welcome back to Daring Donju Art. This is my second video. I'm glad to see you here. And as you know, these videos are a part of documenting my journey to becoming a concept artist. Now, me saying becoming a concept artist, it's kind of my shorthand way of saying a highly proficient visual artist. And concept artist, I don't want to get too caught up onto that specific term, even though I will use that term as a shorthand. But I don't want it to be a kind of thing where we lock ourselves into the idea of, a concept artist is some specific job that you have these X skills to do this, and you get that job. Because honestly, really what my motivation is to be able to communicate visually effectively. And to do that, there are a number of base skills that are needed, right? So understanding of anatomy, understanding of the digital tools, hand-eye coordination to be able to draw what you see and translate what you see or what you see in your mind or what you see in front of you into renderings, in a two-dimensional format, and those kind of all the things that go into being an artist, a proficient artist. So I never. And I think that from what I've been listening to online, I've been doing research and listening to a lot of the kind of thought leaders out there, YouTubers who talk about this. Is basically this concept art thing it's a job, but it's just more of it's kind of a shorthand, right, for the industry to be able to put in a nutshell a bunch of different skills that they'd be looking for. So I do think it's important that we understand when we say concept artist, that you're really probably crossing over into a whole bunch of different skills and titles and tool sets and things like that. Obviously, concept artists are working in 2D. They're also working in 3D. A lot of concept artists are fantastic at using tools like ZBrush, even Maya and modeling. Being able to grab, definitely in Photoshop or other, photo manipulation tools, as well as, the basic anatomy things of 2D art. Many are even handy at what would be more so considered design, color, things like that. So when we talk about my journey to being a concept artist, it's not so much the journey towards like trying to get this particular job. Although I wouldn't rule that out, right? I really just want to develop the skills and then be able to see where that might apply. So that being said, when you hear me talk about that, I think it is a good way to talk about even building a portfolio. I do think it's one of the things that I'm going to be working on as if I'm applying for, a job as a character designer or concept artist for a film or entertainment related company, because focusing on it as if I am doing it towards getting a job is also gonna focus my efforts, right? Because I think the thing about making a portfolio is you're getting something ready for someone else outside yourself to see. So I really want to be good at this, and I want to be good in a way that I can communicate with others. And so I'm going to be taking all the steps that you would do as if you're looking for, particularly, a job as a concept artist working for a studio. But maybe I'll do freelance work for people, or maybe, the concept art I do will just funnel into the movies that I'm writing and creating, or maybe I'll end up creating a graphic novel. Well, I'm pretty sure I'll do a graphic novel again at some point. But, basically what I'm saying is I don't want to necessarily at this early stage lock in what it is that the specific goal is, because that may be a little bit too limiting. But at the same time, it is good to pick a limited goal in order to focus the effort. So that may be contradictory sounding, but I hopefully I've kind of explained why I think that's the right approach for me. So real quick, I'm just going to go over my current tools and approach so that you can take from that what you will to help your own journey, or you can also maybe shoot me down or give me some feedback in the comments below to let me know what of my approach is probably off or ways that I could improve it. But let me just quickly go through kind of the way I'm planning to do this. So for one, I'm doing the daily sketches. So I'm forcing myself to do this YouTube channel, not just sit there in a vacuum and draw and work on these images, but by putting out a video every day, sharing my process, sharing what I'm doing, sharing what I'm learning. It's kind of that feedback loop thing that a lot of people talk about, right? So you've heard me, when you talk about like the 10,000 hours rule, and then you talk about 10,000 hours rule to become like master expert within any given industry, and that's deliberate practice. But at the same time, on the flip side, there are other experts who talk about the 20-hour rule, which is that 20 hours of focused practice in any field will allow you to be pretty good, like basically somewhat decent. So if you pick up any sport, or you wanted to learn ping pong, for example, if you were to spend a good 20 hours learning the right things and practicing, using kind of good guidance or whatever like that, that after 20 hours that you'd be pretty decent, meaning you'd be able to, you could actually play a game of ping pong, right? And then the same is probably true of most things. If you talk about somebody going from zero knowledge to what they would know after 20 hours of the right kind of practice, then basically, that would be a huge leap, and it would be a night and day difference between what they had when they had zero information or zero approach versus 20 hours. So my initial goal is somewhere in the middle, right? I mean, it'll take years and years for sure to be like a top of the industry expert or whatever. But what I want to be is good at it. Like I want to be pretty good at it to where, I can draw characters, I can draw concept scenes, that I imagine, shots that I imagine, like cinematic type frames and things like that. I want to be able to communicate that visually pretty quickly, before I go and shoot it, or before I go and make a movie, or, do that. I want to be able to, design and develop all that stuff on paper in a competent way, in a pretty convincing way, because I do think that increases my effectiveness in all my storytelling endeavors, right, to be able to do that. And even if in the end, I'm handing it off to someone who, is a more skilled conceptual artist or visual artist or whatever, the fact that I believe that the fact that I can get a pretty detailed, convincing, communicative visual concept, to me is a highly valuable skill. So really, that's my goal, is somewhere in between that 20 hours and the 10,000 hours, and then from there, take it from there and see where that leads me. Right. Once I have more information, then I can kind of adjust. So by all intents and purposes, the information I've read online and YouTube and all these things basically says that that you can learn this yourself with the tools that are out there. But you do need to find ways to have feedback and have a feedback loop so that you're not isolated. So the ways I'm planning to do that are through this YouTube channel. For example, putting my work out there on Instagram, Darian Donju Art on Instagram. You're welcome to follow me. I'll be putting out sketches daily, and I'll be putting out daily videos of the process to achieve those sketches. As you see in front of you, the video playing with you is today's sketch. I'm also taking courses through Schoolism, run by Bobby Chu. I'm currently in the Intro to Digital Painting course with the critical feedback. My instructor is Andrew Howe, and that's immensely helpful because we have specific assignments that keep me on track. So I'm not just kind of wandering, too far in my own direction, but I'm having to follow like specific guidelines. And I'm also getting paint over feedback. So Andrew, what he does is, every assignment that you do, you turn in your Photoshop file, and then he actually spends time to critique that file, in video format. And so that is immensely helpful because, he's a skilled artist, working industry artist, and his feedback is super duper helpful because he's actually responding to the work that I'm doing. So I've signed up for Schoolism, and I'm gonna just probably one class at a time. I'll always be probably taking one of their classes, and that's one way I'm gonna keep on track. So the daily sketches, Schoolism, courses through Schoolism, the feedback loop through the video channel, so that I'm putting my work out there on Instagram. I also have a Facebook page which I'm putting the videos out there, and Instagram is for the putting out the actual images, and then the YouTube channel, which you're on right now, or actually you could be on the Facebook channel because it's the same video is going to be on Facebook and YouTube. But by putting those out there and building a community and sharing with you what I'm doing, and then giving you the opportunity to have those comments and feedback, it's like it's not having me be in a box, right? So I think that's like the death of progress, is just kind of being in a box and thinking like what I'm doing, whoa, it's so great. But, I want to have it out there in the world and have you be able to react to it. So as far as actual tools, I'm using the Wacom Mobile Studio Pro 16 is what I'm drawing on, and I'm using Photoshop. So I'm sure I can get into more tools in the future, but at the moment, I'm glad you're here. Give me feedback. Tell me what tools you're using and how you're doing that. And I'm just glad to be able to share this journey with you. And I hope to see you again tomorrow in the next video. So thanks for being here. See you tomorrow.